McGowan Artists. This week we are going to make non-objective art. And when I talk about non-objective art, I mean that we're not creating a portrait that's a person or a landscape that's something outside. It's a picture that's got beautiful colors and patterns and lines, but it isn't a picture of anything specifically. My artist that I like to pull this idea from, who's a wonderful non-objective painter, is Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock was an American artist who became famous by actually using paint splatter and beautiful lines that didn't really seem to make sense, but they did to him, to create a balanced, unique artwork that is called non-objective. Today, we are not going to paint splatter, even though that would be really fun, but we're going to use some lines. I'm going to use a little bit of paint, so watch my video, and if you have paint, I want to encourage you to use it. If you just have crayons, that's totally fine too. I'm actually going to use both of them. So I have a piece of paper here, and I'm going to start by folding it a couple times to give me some guidelines. Watch, I'm going to fold it in half once. I'm going to fold it in half again. You might want to ask mom and dad or someone at home to help you with these folds if you're having a little trouble, because I'm going to do it one more time. So all together, I'm folding it 3 times. You don't have to do 3 times, but I think it's helpful. So right now it's about the size of like a credit card or a small picture or a wallet. And when I open it up, I have little folds and creases that I'm going to use for guidelines on my page, just so I know how to make a straight line. So like I said, you don't have to do the folds, but I find it helpful. Now I'm going to turn my camera down here, and I am going to show you how I'm going to get this started. First, I am going to use a crayon, and I am going to choose some colors that I think go well together. So I'm just going to choose maybe, let's see here, I've got blue and blue-green, and I've got yellow-green and green. These are all pretty much in the same family of greens and blues or cool colors. So I'm just going to use these today just because I think they look well together. So I'm going to start off, and on the fold, just to make it fun, I'm going to create a fun line on one of my folds. I decided to make mine kind of zigzag. And then on this one, going this way, I'm going to do just a straight line. And I'm going to do another one and another one. Now, I think I want some more green on there, so I'm going to go back, and I don't have a fold here, but I'm going to go ahead and just follow along and do something very similar to that. Now it looks like almost like plaid going crisscross, or like I was making a fancy checkerboard. Also, I think I'm going to add maybe some colored dots in the middle to create a pattern. With my crayons, kind of just making it up as I go. Then I'll use this blue-green. I love this color. And maybe real lightly on here, I'm going to color in some of them. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making a pattern. I'm making a neat design. It's not scribble scrabble. But in the end, that's what it is. It's simply a design, but it isn't a picture of anything. You don't see a flower in here or a house or a person. You just see pretty lines and colors that are unique and interesting that look good together. And I'm trying to use my very best coloring to color this page. I'm also coloring real light. I pushed harder on my crayons when I made the lines, and now when I color over it, I'm going to go a little bit lighter so those show up. That's just kind of what I prefer. I'm trying to go in sort of the same direction so that it looks neat, and you'll have more time to color if you want. Now, like I said, I decided to do this one all with crayons so you can see if you only have crayons at home that this is what works really well. I'm going to show you another idea in just a moment. Just showed you one idea of what you can do if you only have some drawing materials at home and a piece of paper. It's non-objective, but it does make sense. It's got a pattern. They all go together really well just to make a nice patterned printed piece of paper. Now I'm going to show you another idea, and you can decide if you have paints, which one you want to do. So this is another idea. So I'm going to take this same thing, a piece of paper, and I am going to fold some guidelines again. I just really like this because I don't have to use a ruler to make it perfectly straight. And I'm folding it once, twice, 3 times. The paper gets a little thicker. That last one's kind of tough. And then I'm going to open them up, just like before, and put it down here. I'm going to tilt this down. Same idea. You could even start off with some colors. This time, instead of the cool colors, I think I'm going to go ahead and use some warm colors just to make it a little different. So some reds, yellow, oranges. Stick with that. I'm actually going to do both. I'm going to do paint and crayon on this one. So this time, I'm going to make maybe a zigzag line for fun. Curved line. These are warm like the colors of the sun. Now that I have my lines, when I color it in, I think it'll be fun to add some paint. So I'm going to get I've got my watercolors here. These are just simple watercolors. Paints come in all different kinds of ways. I've got my water and a brush. So what I also is smart to have a paper towel near you. And anytime you're painting, be sure to ask your mom and dad. All right, so I'm dipping my brush in the water, and I'm going to give my colors a little splash, a little dab of water in each one because I'm waking them up is what I like to call it because they've been sleeping. They're dry. All right, I'm going to go ahead and still use the same idea for these colors. And if you keep it in the same color family, if the colors move, it's still okay. So I just got a little yellow in here, and I thought this is fun. I'm going to paint this yellow. So I've combined my materials of paint and crayon to make a non-objective pattern or design. Maybe I'll just make some fun like little X's in here in each square. Or some dots. I like how it just sort of develops and is created. Maybe I'll go in diagonal just to be fun. I'm creating my own non-objective design. So this is really fun. I'm not scrubbing with my brush. I'm just gently painting with it, and I'm not letting the hard part of my brush touch the paper at all. And now I've created a beautiful pattern color of warm colors that looks like a quilt as well, but it's also non-objective. So for this week, I want you to create at least one non-objective work of art for me on a piece of paper. You can use crayons, you could even do markers, watercolors, or you can mix them up. And then I want you to not only show me what you made, but I also want you to save it for me because next week we're going to do something with this piece of paper and we are going to use it to create something else. So for this week, create your own non-objective work of art. Like I said, use what you have at home. It doesn't have to be paint, but if you have it, I encourage you to try to use it and show me what you make. Have a good day.